Welcome to the Tina Parker Show, where we burn the bullshit, speak the truth, and build brands that break chains. I'm Tina Parker, spiritual badass, truth teller, and the woman who turns pain into purpose. If you're ready to lead with fire, heal out loud, and drop the damn mic, you're home.
Well, hello! I forgot to add me to the stage. Welcome to another episode of the Tina Parker Show. Y'all, let's talk about some truth. You know I'm all about that, okay? Are we being conditioned to obey instead of think? That's what our episode is about today. If you are questioning things in the world right now, or if you're just, taking a blind side to it, your blind eye, and you're not saying anything, that's not what we were here for. Okay. I'm going to dive into that and share more about, the truth and what you can do to move forward to make this a better world, be a better parent, be a better leader in this world. Okay. Folks, there's a shift happening. You feel it. Okay. It's been going on. Let's be real. It has been going on since 2020, okay? If you all learned anything from that, I hope you learned I need to speak up, not look away, okay? And be silenced, okay? And I'm going to talk to you more about what is going on right now today that is very disturbing, okay? People feel it. The media says one thing, right? But the government says another. And our own intuition, okay, our God-given fire, our own intuition that we were blessed with, whispers something entirely different, okay? And if it's not, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like maybe you're not having any quiet time, or if your intuition isn't, we all have it, okay? We were born and blessed with this. We should all have this, okay? Let's talk more about it. We're told to stay quiet. Okay, we were all brought up in a time when you might have had parents that were like, don't talk, don't speak up, you don't get an opinion, okay? Teachers, church leaders, corporations, you can't talk about this, okay? Y'all, times are changing, and if you own a business, if you're in a corporation and you happen to see this episode, I want you to know that things are changing. And if you want your people to be proud, be entrepreneurial, be great leaders within your organization, you've got to let them become individuals and have some truth, okay? And if you're leading in the right way, you'll be a promoter of that. You know what I mean? Or if you're shady, okay, you need to take a second look at yourself. All right? That's the truth. Okay? We're told to stay quiet, follow the crowd, trust the experts, the doctors. If they tell you to do this, I'm going to do it without questioning or hesitating anything. It doesn't make sense. But when did obedience become the highest virtue and discernment? Okay? And by doing that, by speaking out, it's all of a sudden, she's being rebellious. He's being rebellious. No, this was given to us. But what has happened is over years, they have told us to be quiet, to listen to the experts. You don't get an opinion, okay? You're not the leader. Okay? We can learn from everyone, but you can't learn from everyone. This isn't just political that's going on. And this is a spiritual warfare. All right. And it's been going on for a long time. And I'm here to squash it along with a lot of other incredible humans. Okay. Because the moment we stop thinking for ourselves, we stop hearing the voice of Yahweh for ourselves. That's another thing. How many of you think God's name is God? Okay. You've been told that all your life. So when you hear me say Yahweh, okay, that's his real name. Okay, if you want people to call you by your real name, you'd want them to call you by your real name. All right? You don't want them to if your name is Susie, you don't want them to call you Janice. Come on. All right. It says you will know my name in the Bible. So his real name is Yahweh. We've just been told that his name is God. All right. So I'm a little passionate. Okay. If you're a passionate person, you and we're going to align just great. Don't forget to subscribe. Hey, guess what I have? I have this little cool thing. Boom. Okay. Oh, I don't want it on that section. How do I change where it shows up? Okay. I don't know if you scan it, if you can scan it because it says live on my end. Hopefully it doesn't say live on your end. But if you scan that QR code, it would take you right to my page and you can subscribe. All right. But we're not going to keep it there because that's just, you can also subscribe. I think there's another spot that you can see that you can subscribe. But I was really excited when I created that little QR code for that. I created a couple others too. All right. Cool thing is, y'all, freedom starts with a question. We just need to question things. Why? Okay. Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, y'all, don't be a sheep. I'm just going to tell you straight. Okay. So why questioning authority is essential to freedom and faith. Okay. We're going to talk about this. You can't walk in faith and fear at the same time. Okay. It doesn't work. Okay. We need to be fueled by our faith. Okay. And move forward and push against things, question things. All right. You will become the most incredible leader within any organization or within your family, or if you're a church, if you question things, okay? If you are a leader in a church organization and your authority says, we got to start doing this, okay, you should be asking questions too. And if they want to kick you out for that, let them kick you out. But we're here to ask questions. If things don't, we have an intuition, we have an understanding. Things don't feel right, don't vibe right. Okay, that's your sign to question. Okay, faith invites you to ask, not just accept. All right. So even Jesus, let's talk about, and Jesus' real name is Yahweh, or Yeshua, by the way. Okay, you've had it wrong this whole time. I'm so sorry. You got to ask questions. Even Yahshua asked or questioned the systems of his time, okay, religious and political. Okay, that wasn't rebellion. Or would you think it's rebellion? Okay, even Yahshua asked questions. Okay, he just didn't go with the flow. Okay, it was a revelation. In leadership, unquestioned power becomes corruption. This is why our world is so full of corruption, because we have went decades just letting people run us over, okay, like a steam truck. You know what I'm saying? Don't question me. Okay, this is the way our government's going to be run. This is the way this leaders get. No, these leaders shouldn't, if they're being corrupt, get their ass out. Okay, and we need to call them on their shit. Obviously, we have to do our due diligence, but question things. And you know what? I'm not saying go into your employer and be like, I don't like it, you do this. I'm not saying that. I'm saying work for someone that has the same values as you, right? You don't have to be, you don't have to get in their face or anything, but you can, I think you should ask questions, because some organizations believe you should do things a certain way, and this is the only way that we can get business. No, I found that to be completely wrong. Okay, I like to do things a different way, and actually it panned out to be very beneficial and worked out fantastic for me. And guess what? Because I pulled out the numbers, because my numbers I kicked ass, they didn't question me. They didn't care how I got the business. No one had to have one-on-ones with me because I was never a problem. Okay? I didn't question, like when they would say, you got to do this or you got to do that. I was like, that doesn't align with me. Okay. That doing it that way doesn't make sense. Okay. I'm going to do it this way. And it ended up being better, but I didn't go to their face and say, as a leader, I was also in leadership, but I didn't say, that's not the only way, the way you're thinking. You know what I mean? I just went and did it my way, and they didn't care. You know, it worked. And then they wanted me to stand up in front of all the other leaders, my peers, and tell them what I did to get the results I got. So, I would say that you could do the same. But if they're pushing you to do things or behave, or, you know, you have to get a jab, or you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you can't work here, our values don't align. Okay, because you're in with that same sheep mix mentality. Okay, you're not letting me think for myself. You're not giving me freedom of my body, my health, my choices. No. Okay, don't push me around that way. Okay, then you find something else, right? So in leadership, unquestioned power becomes corruption. In faith, unquestioned tradition becomes weak. I think, you know what I mean? Like everything is just like idle. Questioning doesn't mean dishonor. It means discernment. It means we're using our own God-given discernment. Let me think about this. This is off. Something doesn't make sense here. Okay, I'm going to question this. Okay, I'm not just believing what you're saying. And we need to get to it where we use our voice. Okay, that's what we're here to have fire in our soul. We are here to ask questions. Okay. When was the last time, hopefully it just is like right now, when was the last time you felt something that just didn't add up? You're like, okay, this doesn't make sense. I'm going to question this. But you silenced your intuition out of fear of being judged. That's how conditioning begins. And guess what? You do that long enough, you are shrinking, you are being silenced, you're canceling your damn self. Okay, we're in a free world, and we have to, there's more of us than them. We have to push back. We have to ask questions. We have to use our discernment. And, you know, that's our God-given right. We were born with that. Okay. Now, I will say there are some people that probably use their voice. They just are, there's going to be different levels. I'll just say that. Okay. Not everyone, just like, have you ever taken a personality test? Put it in the comments. Maybe you've never you're just kind of like, I just want everything to be chill. Okay. I don't want to ruffle any feathers here. You are kind of in fear, you know, but you just don't want to cause any commotion. Okay, there's those people. But then we're going to have some other people that are more critical thinkers, and they go into blah, blah, blah. Immediately they feel something, they see something, and they go, this isn't right. Something's off with this. Okay. There's a lot going on in the news right now that was my experience. Okay, so let's talk about how spiritual and emotional conditioning shapes our culture. And this is what we need to disrupt, I believe, in the world. Okay, we need to, in order for things to change, we have got to get closer in our faith, become more spiritually aware, emotionally aware, and we need to push back, and we need to use our voice, and we need to question people, even our leaders, whether that's in your church, in your schools, you know, wherever. All right, the government, politics, everything. Okay. So because here's the thing is, we've been trained to comply before we even realize it. Like, they'll say we need to do something, they put the fear in people, and then they go, oh, okay. They don't even realize that this training it's been going on for a long time. You know what I mean? And you didn't even realize it. You just were going with the flow the whole time. You didn't think that you could even question things. All right. So conditioning starts small. It does. It starts in the homes. It starts in schools. It starts in churches. It starts in workplaces where people say, don't question that. That's just how it is. How many of you parents do that to your kids? You don't let them think. Maybe they have a better idea. Kids are brilliant. They are, I mean, we could, if we were more kid-like, that would be incredible, because kids are like, why? How many times do your kids, when they learn the word why, and you told them not to do something, they go, why? 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 Okay. I'll never forget when my daughter asked me why like 5 times, in a row. I would give her a response. She'd say, why? I'm like, this is good. She was pushing back. She was asked, she wanted to know more. And if we take that away from our kids, if you take that away from your employees, if you're a leader and you're taking that gift away from your employees, you are part of the problem. Okay? So we don't want to say that's just how it is. Things can get better. Okay? The world teaches us to perform for acceptance, to conform for safety. Does that sound familiar? And to silence truth, to belong. Okay? If something feels off and it's not your truth, don't worry about being alone. Okay? Don't worry about losing people. I would rather lose everyone that is up in the freaking night because they go against my own truth. You know what I mean? They're part of the problem. You want to be around people that think critically, that are movers and shakers, not just yes people. Okay? Spiritual conditioning looks like manipulation, but it's disguised as unity. Spiritual conditioning, because that's what they do. And I'll be honest, they do that with religion. They do that in a lot of things, but you see that a lot in religion. Emotional conditioning looks like guilt, shame, or fear keeping us in cycles of silence. Okay, here's what it's like. I want you to just visualize this. It's like being wrapped in invisible ropes. Okay? You're wrapped, I want you to visualize this. Close your eyes if you have to. You're wrapped in invisible ropes. And every lie you accept ties one more knot around your purpose. All of us were here for a purpose. And when we are not living passionately in alignment with our purpose, it ties us up. Okay? It's like bondage. It's like lost. It's like lost souls. It's very depressing. And we wonder why we have a world. I mean, people are, unfortunately, suicide is rampant right now. And I believe it's because of so much of this stuff going on. They haven't found their purpose. They are just living in fear and shame and being silenced and being told, they're being conditioned and they don't think they have a voice, and that's wrong. Okay, everybody gets a voice. All right, so what beliefs or patterns have you been carrying that were never truly yours? That one can go deep, folks. I don't know if you realize that. I mean, there could be small things. Let me just give you an example. Ladies, let's say this was told to me when I did this mentorship group. What if you bake or cook a roast a certain way? Okay? And I came up to you and I said, why do you cook your roast this way? Well, because my mom did cook the roast this way. Why did your mom cook the roast this way? Because her mom cooked the roast this way. So you believe that's the only way to cook the roast. Okay, that's just a way to think about it. But it's the small things, it's everywhere if you guys don't realize it. Okay, everything that we do is based on something that was passed down from when we were a child, either from our parents, and guess what? They could have been misinformed. Can you even believe that? Yes, our parents can be wronged too. Like your parents said, we have to go to church every Sunday. If you miss, you're evil. You can have a strong faith, but not go to the four walls of a building. But your parents might have taught you that no, the only way is going to that church building. Okay? Now they believe that because their parents believe that. Or what if you had parents that said, you are going to be nothing unless you go to Harvard or Yale or any of these prestigious colleges, or you have to graduate high school, or you are a nobody. Well, guess what? I'm a dropout, folks. And I've proved that whole idea. I've kiboshed that. Okay. So I'm just here to tell you that the things that our parents have told us, the things that their parents told them, we have to question things. Okay. So all of your beliefs, everything, you have to rethink and almost unlearn everything you've ever been taught. Now, some of the things you've been taught could be accurate. Okay. Could be valid. It could be great. But there might be some beliefs and patterns and things that you do in your life that you've been carrying that were never truly yours. That's the same with all of the stuff with the government, all the stuff, everything. Okay. Those ideas or concepts that the school taught you, that your parents, church leaders, all these folks, okay, all these leaders in the world, those were never truly yours. So you have to decide and figure out, why do I believe this with everything? It's crazy, huh? These things were handed to you, and you just ran through life with that idea. So then you're telling people the only way you'll be successful is if you graduate with a degree from Harvard. Okay, well, that's not true. I know a gazillion incredible, super successful multimillionaires and billionaires that didn't graduate from Harvard. Okay, there are even dropouts. So that's not true. So that belief was not your belief, but it was passed down to you. We have to think about these things. This whole episode is really about things that are going on in the world right now that specifically I wanted to bring your awareness, but it really, when you really think about it, it is like so much deeper. Okay. Steps to reclaim your independent thought and personal power. Okay. Power isn't selfishness. Some people will be like, or if you work on yourself, self-development, personal development, everything, people might think, oh, that's just too, I don't want to be, that's selfish of me to do that. No, you really need to work on you. Personal development is huge. It's your stewardship of your God-given mind and spirit. So here's some action steps I wanted to share with you, okay? So before you do anything, and I did this with this situation that I'm referring to, it's been on the news, pause before you post or react and ask yourself, is this my truth or my programming? That goes with anything. Like, how do I feel about this? Let me pause. Let me think about what's going on and use my own discernment, use my intuition, and come to my own truth without any noise. Okay? Detach from groups. You know what I mean? And what they think. You have to come to your own conclusion. Okay? Your worth isn't tied to approval. It's tied to alignment. Okay? And when you are solid in who you are and what you stand for, and even if it goes against what everyone else is saying, you are amazing, because so many people, I'm just going to tell you that, there's so many people that won't do that. You know what I mean? Return to solitude and scripture. Okay? Read your scriptures. Read, pray. Be grateful. Have, a heart of enlightenment. You know what I mean? When you're enlightened, then things will come to you. That's when you can feel these things. Okay, that's where discernment is sharpened. Audit your inputs. Wait what you watch, listen to, and repeat. Those things, who are you listening to? It rewires your belief system. Like, just to give you an example, every morning I'm listening to people that are very successful. Okay, I do that every morning. I am improving who I am. I am listening to minds that were that are incredible in this world, and they align with me, and they've done this work. They've questioned things. And so I don't listen to the news for how I'm going to like live my life. I don't listen to a church leader for how I'm going to live my life, or a politician or the government. I live my life based on my own known intuition, beliefs, the work I've put in, my questioning, I stay curious. I always want to learn, and I'll, look at all sides. But a lot of times we can just feel it. You can see it. You sense it. But when we ignore that, it causes you to become weak, and you're not in line with your discernment. You know what I mean? You lose that. So use your voice, even if it shakes. Speaking truth breaks the cycle of silence. That's what we need to do. We need to break generational curses. Okay? You want to be a curse breaker, a generational curse breaker, okay? Independent thought isn't rebellion. It is your responsibility. Okay? So we're getting close to the end. Stick with me. Share this with someone that you think needs to hear this episode, okay? This is how you can use your discernment in a world driven by manipulation. This is important because a lot of people don't even know how to use their discernment, especially when we're being, they're manipulating the majority of the world, but they're not manipulating me, okay? And there's a lot of people that aren't falling for this, but I would say the majority probably are, unfortunately. So your discernment, I want you to know, is a personal spiritual power, okay? Manipulation always has a motive, and discernment sees the motive before the message. Manipulation always has a motive. So when I see things going on in the world, things that are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, all these things going on around that. All right. Instantly, you guys, I questioned some things. And I said to myself, there's a reason for this. There's a reason this just happened. Okay. It's just not what they're making it seem at all. I knew right from the giddy up. Okay. Discernment sees the motive before the message. All right. Ask 3 questions. This is how you can start to work on your discernment. Ask 3 questions. Who benefits? This is in everything. Who benefits? Who profits? And who's silenced? Now, seriously, in hospitals, okay, who's benefiting? Who profits? Who is silenced? Okay, in everything. Question it. All right. Who owns a lot of these organizations? Who's getting a piece of that money? Okay, who's pushing that agenda? All right, you got to think about these things. When you discern through the Spirit, you stop being reactive and start being prophetic. All right, discernment doesn't make you paranoid. Okay, I'm not living my life paranoid because I'm a freaking leader. All right, I'm a savage. Okay, you're not going to make me paranoid. It makes you peaceful because the truth brings clarity. When I'm aligned in my truth and I know what I know, even if it goes against, I'm saying things to some people that goes against what they believe or they haven't figured it out yet. All right. I'm cool with that because it's my truth. I saw it. Okay. And it brings clarity to my life. I don't worry about it. I'm not stressed. I'm not paranoid. I know what I know. Okay. So here's an exercise that you can do this week. When something triggers you, there's a lot of stuff on social media. Okay. And a lot of y'all might be getting triggered. Okay. One thing I'll say to you that probably was very triggering to a lot of people. When Charlie Kirk was shot and they showed that video online and they didn't take it down instantly. No. First of all, the shot looked off to me. Something is off with that. Okay. I don't believe it. I'm not falling for it. All right. Second, they pull everything off the internet. Like I couldn't even wear my sex. If I wear a bikini or I wear a G-string, okay, they're pulling that off. Okay. But you're going to show someone getting shot? No. Okay. That doesn't make sense. Okay. If I say a bad word, they're going to pull my video down. Okay. But they're going to show that and leave it up. You got to question. I mean, that was the first thing I questioned. And then I went through and I'm questioning more things. Okay. But that's just an example. Okay. So when something triggers you, a headline, a post, a conversation, stop and say, show me the truth beneath this. Then wait for the peace before you respond. Look, I don't know. I have some ideas about why, the deep rooted reason why that whole fiasco is going on. Okay. Why they're doing this, why that's the deep state, the Fed. I don't know who it is. Okay. I believe there's a reason for this that has happened. Okay. And it will all come out. Okay. You know, the truth will always prevail. But I have some questions. I have my ideas, but I don't know all the answers yet. I just know that it doesn't make sense. Okay. And for Erica Kirk to be, if you're falling for her, you're not in tune with your discernment. I'm going to tell you right now. If you have not questioned Erica Kirk, you are not in line with your discernment. And this is where you can work on that, because everything about her and how she is showing up does not make sense. Okay. If you've been in a breakup, if you've lost someone, I mean, come on. No. All right. No. I just, sorry. Not falling for you. Okay. And in closing, let's talk about a few things. We don't need another movement for followers. Okay. Or, we just need a generation of thinkers. And I think I will say, okay, I think some movements are great. And the reason why is because we need to help people find a new home. Find people that you align with or that you want to get closer to, that align with who you really are, okay? And you want to become more like them. Movements are great in that way because it gives you a place to call home. It gives you a place to go and network and discuss these things and increase your discernment and increase your faith. And because I'll be honest, a lot of these organizations and leaders they're not really looking out for your best interests. Some are. Okay, we have some good leaders. I'm not saying all of them, but we have to ask why we're doing things that we're doing. Okay, we just have to ask questions. And who are the people that are benefiting? Who are the people that started this organization? Okay, we have to ask these things. We need generation of thinkers. So if that's really what my episode is about, is like helping you think about your discernment and grow your discernment and help create more more leaders that will think. Okay. Freedom begins in the mind. Okay. Arrival begins in the heart, and restoration begins when we decide to live untethered. You like that? Untethered. You're not, you don't let these things bother you. Okay. You let them move through you and they're out. All right. You know what you know. You stand strong. You're worthy. You're strong. You have a discernment. You have an intuition. If you have trauma in the past, you talk it out. You do whatever you have to do, but you don't hang on to that. You let it flow through you, get it out, get that dance, whatever you got to do. Okay. I love to dance. Do whatever you have to do and let it move through you, but don't let it run your life. Okay. Don't let the world condition you into silence. That's another thing. Let me go back to trauma. I believe that the world is labeling people. You have trauma, you have ADHD, you have this, you have that. Those are labels to keep people down. Okay. Then they're going to say, oh, I can't do that because I have ADHD. Oh, I can't. And we try to like make people weak. Okay. We don't want to do that. Okay. I've experienced that with my own son, where they labeled him as ADHD and I was coddling him and I felt sorry for him because he was, too much to handle in the classroom. He didn't, it was boring for him and he, wanted to learn in a different way. And teachers don't know how to handle that. And so they want to like press this labeling and hold kids back and not let them step into their strong. They need to be able to let them use their gifts. They don't get paid. Those teachers don't get paid enough, okay, to know how to teach every type of child, you know. But if they could learn that, they could get paid. They should pay them more money. Those teachers that know how to adapt and help each kid, but they probably need to have smaller classrooms too. I will say that. Too many kids. It's just it's too much. I can't imagine like having kids off the chain, having 36 kids in a classroom and they're all off the chain. Yeah, and they get paid these middly tiny pennies. It's not worth it. That's why so many teachers actually left. I think they have a big need for teachers in schools, but you can teach your kid at home. You can put them in, private. You can do different things. Okay. Homeschool them. All right. So, freedom begins, and I already talked about that. Don't let the world condition you into silence. Okay. Condition your soul to stay awake, stay aware. Self-awareness is so big. Aware of your surroundings, aware of your own, learn your own belief, figure out your own beliefs. If things don't make sense, question that. Be aware. Stay awake. Okay. Question boldly, love deeply, and walk freely. Don't get caught up when people are trying to hold you in some box. Okay. I used to think about this all the time. Like being stuck in a box, the oxygen. I don't like to be put in a box. Okay. I thought about that. How was I thinking about that? I remember talking to my daughter and my son-in-law. This was like 7 years ago. I was like, imagine being in a box and you are not going to have enough air in there. You're confined. I can't breathe. Okay. If I work for a company or an organization and they said, you have to do things within this perimeter. Okay. This is the only way you can get business. All right. This is how we do it. This is the only way we do it. I couldn't breathe. Okay. I'm more creative. I think differently. I think outside the box. I don't think like you. Okay. But I'm going to probably do better than these other guys. And they have degrees. And I didn't get a degree. It's true. All right. So question things, because truth doesn't fear your questions. It's waiting for you to have questions. It's true. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who's ready to wake up, that you think they need to wake up, or they, there was a piece of this that hit hard with you, and or you think that they could use maybe just some enlightenment on that piece. Share this with them. Subscribe for more faith-fueled conversations on how to live free, think clear, think free, be a free thinker, and rise. Find your fire. And I appreciate you for joining me for this episode. And I will see you again next time. Bye.